Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining me. If you will, like, share, comment on the post. If you haven't, I ask you to subscribe or follow, depending on what format you watch in. And then if you want to follow along, we will be at the last verse, verse 22 of Ephesians chapter 2. And so join me there as you're finding that. Wish my wife a very happy anniversary and thank her for putting up with me for now 41 years. And so it doesn't seem possible that we are that old and been together that long. But actually been together longer than that. Been married 41 years, and I have been a very blessed man to have her. All right, verse 22, Paul says, "In him," speaking of God, "you also," you, speaking to the church, in particular the church here at Ephesus, "you also are being built together into a dwelling place for God by the Spirit." This is an interesting verse in that it contains a blessing. It also contains a challenge. As he says, the church is being built together as a dwelling place for God by the Spirit. So we have the blessing of being the dwelling place of God, His Spirit. We also then have that as a challenge. If we are the dwelling place of the Spirit, then we have an obligation to keep that building clean and fit for His use. And so the church is here described in that way as being built, and each church then is being pictured as a structure for God's presence, and each member then making up that church would be a important part, an essential part of that building, and that they are placed into that building. And like any building, the strength of that building is determined by the placement of those stones, by the placement, how it is built and how it is put together, so that it can be strong and so that it can accomplish its purpose in God's kingdom. And it exists again for providing a place for the dwelling place of God through His Spirit, to allow the Spirit of God to be alive, to be working in the church, to help believers, to be with believers in their times of trouble and difficulty, and they need comfort, when they need guidance, when they need direction. But not only the believers, but then that the church would be a place where lost people are drawn to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And so he says, we're being built together. And the key word, they're being together. That it takes each one of us have a part to play. Each one of us have an important position in the building that is the church of Jesus Christ. And I know I've been at this a long time. I've been in and around the church for a long time. And I know that many people feel like their contribution isn't significant, that maybe even think, if I wasn't there, would anybody even miss me? And I don't sing, I don't teach a class, I don't do anything like that, so maybe I wouldn't even be missed. I'm not an important part of this church. I assure you that every individual, every believer is an important part of the church. You may not sing, but somebody's got to listen to the singer. You may not preach, but somebody's got to be there to listen to the preacher and then carry out and go live out that message. You may not teach, but someone has to be there. There's every person in the church. I can tell you again, I've been at this now I've been pastoring for close to 40 years now. I've been in the church. Never been a time when I wasn't in the church. From the time right after I was born till today. Now that doesn't mean I was a Christian just because I was in church. I tell people I've been in the church longer than I've been a believer. But I've been in church all my life and worked in the church, and I can tell you that every contribution matters. Not about financial alone. Now, when you say contribution, some people think of money. You may just sit in a chair, sit in the pew. I promise you, it's important. It matters to your preacher when he stands up to preach and sees people in the seats instead of empty seats. It matters when you stand up to someone stands up to sing. You may not sing, but it matters that you're there filling up a seat. It's hard to sing to an empty building, or preach to an empty building, or teach an empty classroom. Every person matters. More importantly, you need to understand that you are an important part of the church because you know people that your pastor doesn't know. You're going to go back into your home, into your family, and we are all, it says being built together. It doesn't say some pieces are more important than others. It doesn't say that some have a bigger role. He says we are being built together to be a dwelling place for the Spirit. Let me encourage you this week to be the very best, whatever you are, for God. Be in your seat, be in your place in your church, whether that means you're up front on the stage, or you're working in the nursery, or you hold the door, you take up the offering, or sit on a pew. You be the very best piece of your church you can possibly be, because we're being built together to be a dwelling place for God. You think about that today. Hope it encourages you. Have a good one, and we will see you here tomorrow morning.